Hello and welcome to this edition of Joy in Our Town. I'm Ferrell, Tata, your host, and today I'd like to welcome Lynetta Jordan. Lynetta is a motivational speaker and author and a success coach. Our issue today is education, and she's going to be talking about success after high school. Lynetta, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Ann. It's wonderful to be here.
So let's talk about high school students. How can they better prepare themselves for life beyond high school?
Well, you know, that's always a task and a challenge for students because they have it so good living at home with their parents, and many times they don't have any idea of the challenges of the real world. So even teachers and parents can help prepare them for the real world by helping them, sitting down with them and helping them understand that life is a little bit different on the other side. That though they get excited about graduation, excited about growing up with everybody they've known since they were, in kindergarten, that it's going to change. That when they step beyond that stage of graduation, they may encounter new people they've never met before. They may be going to college with a whole, 2,000 students or 4 or 10 or 20, colleges are all different sizes, and that they're going to be faced with the challenge of making decisions on their own. I remember my parents telling me, we're trying to teach you how to make good decisions because one day we're not going to be here to make those decisions for you. So as a teenager, they allow me to make some decisions. They talked to me, they kind of coached me through the processes so that as I matured and wasn't in their presence, I could make good decisions for myself too.
That was very wise. That was you have wise parents.
It's very important. Thank you. And they're going on now, but it was very important.
Oh yeah.
It's very important.
Now why do you think, I know a lot of kids when they, they're all, like you said, they're all excited, they've got everything, they've gotten to the school that they want to go to, and now they're in school first semester, and a lot of kids really sort of have a very difficult time in that transition. Why do you think that is?
You're exactly right. I've seen it happen firsthand. When I graduated from high school, I remember that some students that were in gifted classes with me could not survive past a semester of college. So that means it wasn't just their academic ability. We need social skills. Students need social skills. They need to know how to adapt. They need to know how to say no to the things they need to say no to, and yes to the things they need to say yes to. So that's very important that, again, being coached, being trained before they get to that place, because a lot of times they get overwhelmed with the party atmosphere, which we hear about all the time, at colleges, and they're not as focused. So even in my book, when I talk about 7 secrets to success beyond high school, one of the things I talk about is practicing a positive attitude, but envisioning your future success right now. Because if you have a vision, your vision will help you make better decisions because you have something that you're working for. You have something to look forward to. And many times students just say, well, I'm just here because I'm just here. But when they have a goal, and they have a plan that helps them to know, I need to take steps toward this. And that goal is always at the forefront of their mind. So when somebody offers them some drugs, their goal pops up in their mind and they can say no easier.
That's great. So now you would be great to talk to all the students, but what can parents do? How can parents help their children better prepare?
That's a great question. Parents should talk to their children. I know as parents, we often get very busy with work and other responsibilities and just trying to make a living and provide for the children, but make sure you take time out to talk to them. Make sure you do establish a friendship with your child. I know some parents say, I'm not your friend, I'm your parent, but make sure that you want to be the first one that they are willing to talk to, because if you don't answer some of their questions, the world will. And the world does not have the expertise and the experience and the wonderful love for that person that you do. And so sometimes they can get swallowed up when they feel they have no one to talk to. So parents need to always remember to communicate with your child, show your child love. And some parents did not have the best experience with their own parents.
Right.
But I do believe you still can muster up the strength to create a greater experience for your own children.
That's
I
awesome.
think it's so important.
Now, what would you say to a student, or how would you coach a student who their plans didn't work out? Maybe they didn't get into the college that they wanted to, or they didn't get into, get the job that they wanted. What would you say to them?
I love to talk about turning your obstacles into opportunities. Life is like a test. And as tests go, we don't get all the answers before we take the test. We get some lessons, and then when we test, we can't refer back to those, those questions that we had before. So, make an obstacle your next opportunity. Understand that success is still beyond that thing that has challenged you. And many times in life, we get repositioned for something better than we have imagined ourselves. So don't limit yourself to what you think, success is going to look like for you. Just understand that God has a plan, and that if you just keep doing great things, keep being positive, keep staying motivated, keep applying yourself, and keep being a positive influence on those around you. And I'm telling you, those things that seem to be obstacles can become your opportunities. And I've learned too in life that your setbacks can really be setups for your comebacks.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Now, you talk in your book, and I know you're passionate about giving back. Can you
Yes.
talk about why you think it's so important for, even at a young age, for students to start giving back?
Well, Ann, I grew up in a small town of less than 5,000 people. I mean, that's tiny. I don't want to call it small, that's just tiny. And so you can feel very limited, like there are no opportunities. And so if I was able to see some hope beyond the small environment that I was in, that I know others can too. And so I really feel like I always want people to know there is something better, there is more, and you don't have to be limited by things that seem to limit you or they come in your life to limit you. And that even though you may come from a small place, great things can come out of small places, and so never take for granted the experiences you've had, because we are all just one step ahead of somebody else. So that means every one of us can contribute something. And then we have to remember too that there are others who are just one step ahead of us. And so we can learn from others too.
That's great. So you talk about, or you encourage students to gain different experiences and opportunities after high school.
Yes.
And are you talking about while they're in college or instead of college, or what? Can you talk about some?
Yeah, while they're in high school, it's really good. You can volunteer. And you can learn a lot. I've learned by teaching college and teaching high school too, that a lot of students are still in the discovery phase once they go to college. Most four-year universities are designed so that the first 2 years, they're still doing basic academic courses like English and math and everything too. So that's also a great time to explore through internships, through, again, volunteer opportunities, going out into the community, getting off of that college campus and volunteering so that you can learn more. And if somebody is willing to mentor you, take them up. If it's just for an hour, call somebody. Students today need to learn how to initiate conversations. Find somebody who's doing something that you would like to do and give them a phone call. I mean, if you want to be on TV, call the TV station and, ask for one of the anchors, and you'd be surprised who would love to give back to you.
That's so good.
Yeah, find somebody that's doing what you would love to do and talk to them, because
Yeah.
you can learn more about it.
And how do you help students stay positive even when they're experiencing negative circumstances?
Well, I have a motto that I got in college called Dare to be Dynamic. It says, do not only dare to be different, but dare to be dynamic. And so keeping that attitude of gratitude, keeping a spirit of excellence, and learning to strive for your personal best is something, because you're always going to meet people that you think are more successful than you. But are they really? Because each one of us is called to do something distinctly different. And I can't be you, but I can be me real good.
Right.
So I encourage them to focus on themselves. Don't compare themselves to everybody. And I know media has a lot of positive influence, and sometimes, the young ladies think, oh, I have to be this size to be pretty. No, you are beautiful, no matter what size you are. And so staying focused, staying encouraged, not comparing yourself to others, but having a track for your future, and keep going forward in that too. Now, when I was in high school, they picked on me. And they picked on me because I couldn't go out to the parties. My parents didn't let me do anything. And so as a young child, it kind of felt, oh man, they're picking on me, I'm not popular. But I learned later in life, and that's what students have to know, that later on down the road, you'll understand some things. It was for my good that I could not get involved in some of the opportunities or really activities that they got involved in, because some of their results were not as successful as mine. Coming from the small town, as I mentioned before, I was blessed to go to four-year college, and I even became the campus queen. So who would have known that somebody from a little old small town with very limited opportunities could continue to grow, think positive, be a leader in the community, volunteer, and expand my horizons to be at a college campus with people I didn't even know before I got there, and be favored to represent all of the students and all of the college campus and administration as the college queen. It was wonderful.
Your town must be so proud of you.
Well, and I'm proud of them too. It was a small place, but it was a great place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, how about, what would you say to a student who they have sort of a goal in mind and they have a dream, but their parents may have another dream for them? How do you help them navigate that disconnect?
Man, that is a tight place, because I've actually been in that place too. My parents wanted me to go and teach, and I didn't want to do it at the time. And so, stay true to your dreams and goals, but also keep your ears open, because you must, as a youngster, accept the wisdom of others. Many adults do have wisdom that you don't have yet. But at the same time, if you have a dream, continue to pursue it. But one thing I've learned is that you still can pursue your dream while you have another income stream. And so sometimes the parents are trying to give them wisdom and let them know, establish yourself in your career and then continue to pursue your dream too. And so listen to the wisdom that adults have to offer, but also know in your heart, you need to listen to your heartbeat too.
And somebody listening to you right now, they may think, oh, wow, I did everything wrong. I should have done this, I should have done that. What would you say to parents who maybe were too hard or too directive with their children, and now they want to pull back a little? How would you encourage them?
Well, I would just encourage them to just know that, nobody is perfect. Not one of us. We do our best, but not one of us is perfect. So, be encouraged about you gave the best that you had to give at that time for your child. When we become better, we can do better. And that's why I think it's important to keep reading, keep listening to motivational resources, keep educating ourselves so that we can be better parents. So you can't change the past, so don't live in regret, and don't let that regret hold you up any longer. But just make sure that the today and the next day is brighter than the last. So just have hope, because you can do better. The part we can change is tomorrow, and today is called the present, because it really is a gift.
I love that. And how about, what is your opinion about the gap year? Some kids now are taking a year off before they go to college. What is your opinion about that?
Well, personally, I continued right after high school, and so for me doing that, it was good because it kept me focused. While you're in that learning mode, I think it's really good to continue. I've talked to many other adults who have gone back to school, returned to school after working, and it was a lot tougher. Their schedules were different. They were more financially challenged, and so I do suggest that if you have a vision for college, whether it's a 2-year university, or a private trade school, or 4-year university, go immediately after high school. You probably have more scholarship opportunities. While you're in that learning mode, you can keep it moving, because it's challenging. Once you start working, it's challenging to kind of get back into education.
True.
Yeah.
And some kids that are in maybe their first semester or second semester, and nothing is going well. How do you determine now's the time to actually stop going to school or transfer or stick it out? How do you navigate that?
That's good, because many times you do start something and you realize this is not the place for me. So I would say it's like this: if you're driving a car on the interstate and you take the wrong turn, how far do you keep driving the wrong way before you correct your course? And so I suggest that they know I've made the wrong exit. It's just time to correct your course just a little bit. Maybe make a U-turn and maybe transfer to another school that has more of what you're looking for. Because again, it's a discovery process. And sometimes when students start, after the first semester, they realize, you know what, I wanted to study science, but I don't think I like science as much. Maybe I like information technology more. And perhaps that school doesn't offer that. So, the earlier you change, or the earlier you recognize that, the better it is as far as your college career and the time that it will take for you to complete your degree. But, if you've made the wrong turn, and that's in any area of life,
right,
how long are you going to keep driving the wrong way? Just be humble. It's okay. Nobody gets it right every time. Don't beat up on yourself. Just make that change and go forward from there.
And it's so hard as a parent, to know, is this something that they're just going through? Because you also hear about kids that they hated their first semester, but then by the second semester, they were queen of the college. So it's so hard for a parent to know, my child needs to make a U-turn and get back on another road, or just stick it out and there's another alternate way to their destination.
That's true, and it's a tough decision, again, because they're making those adjustments. And so making those adjustments the first semester, those social skills, it is so critical to have more than academic ability in high school, because when you go out there, you have to have more.
Well, Lynetta, you're so energetic and positive. I just love you being with us.
Thank
and we're
you.
going to take a quick break. And when
Okay.
we come back, we're going to talk specifically about women and helping and encouraging women in the workplace.
Great.
I'm Ferrell Tata. We've been talking to Lynetta Jordan. This is Joy in Our Town, and we'll be right back. Hello, I'm Ferrell Tata. Welcome back to Joy in Our Town. And I've been talking to Lynetta Jordan, who's a motivational speaker, an author, and a success coach. And we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about women as minority in the workplace.
Oh, great.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So why do you think it is that despite how far women have come, women are still a minority in the workplace?
Well, everyone is not used to women leading just quite yet. But we are on the rise. We are becoming greater leaders than ever before. And there are a lot of national and even statewide and local initiatives, too, that are trying to help people get prepared for more women in the workplace. I remember some statistics that in the next 5 years, there are going to be a whole lot more women at the top of organizations. So it's taken some while because it's been a man-dominated world, and we love the men, but the women are taking their place too. More women are coming out of their homes and going into the workplaces. Some are staying at home and raising their children, but some of them are allowing their children to go to school, and they're coming out and they're climbing up the corporate ladder. And so women are doing great things.
So you would encourage women to go ahead, even though that right now it seems like they're pushing themselves and they're getting graduate degrees and they're doing all kind of things to get more experience, even when they aren't advancing, but you would encourage them, don't stop. Keep doing that.
Do not stop. Keep going. And also know that along with education, you get a lot of information, and a lot of times education helps you to promote on your jobs even more. But always keep that open mindset, because it's going to be your attitude and it's going to be your ability to communicate well that helps you get promoted and get greater opportunities too.
And how would you encourage women to assert themselves to ask for more responsibility in their current jobs?
Well, you just said it. Ask for more. Ask for more. Women and men sometimes think a little bit differently, and then there's some areas that we think alike. I remember wanting to participate in an event, and it was already set. By the time I saw it, the flyer was already out. But I said, I really believe I want to be a part of this. And so I called the coordinator, who was a man, and I never forget what he said. He made room for me to participate in that event. And he told me, he said, Lynetta, always remember to ask for what you want.
That's so true.
And I remember that because if I had not asked for that opportunity, I would not have received that opportunity. And so sometimes as women, we're so focused on, doing everything for everybody else that we forget how to ask for ourselves. Children ask us for things and we give it. The community asks us. The church asks us. The job asks us. But we forget to ask for what we want to. And so that's a great tip. And men respect that, because they're trained to ask for what they want, and they respect it when women can kindly ask for what they want.
And how would you encourage women to get more confidence? I mean, you present yourself so well, you have confidence, you stand tall, but what about a woman who is maybe insecure and shy and timid? How would you encourage her to get confidence?
Well, it goes to our self-worth. Understanding that we have value. There is a workshop I did called The Diamond Within You. And one thing about it is I believe that all women are diamonds. And if you go in the jewelry store, different diamonds have different value depending on their clarity, the color, the cut, or the carat weight. And so as women, we are all different. Some of us have fewer flaws than others, or more flaws than others, but all diamonds are valuable. So I want women to know that they're diamonds. I talk about the diamond within you, because they are valuable. And diamonds are formed through pressure. And so that means we've had some unpleasant things that have happened in our past, but our pressure could bring forth our greatness.
Right.
And so I try to encourage them and help them be more confident, knowing that they are a diamond. They do have a high price, and they are valuable. So don't allow anyone to treat you less than the value that you really hold.
That's really wonderful.
Yes.
All right, can you talk a little bit about networking? Because I think in your opinion, you think women really have the upper hand when it comes to networking.
I do, because we're wonderful
communicators.
Diamonds. We are diamonds.
Multifaceted.
Yes, and we love to communicate. I mean, naturally, we open our mouths and we just talk to one another. Ask the men, and they're like, we don't talk that much, but the ladies love to talk. And so we are, and networking is very important for any woman's career success. Networking is essential. Networking is getting out to meet new people, learning how to share what you do with confidence and concisely as well, and then also seeing how possibly you can serve someone else and help them be better at what they do. It's important to build a network of people that we can call on when we have questions, because none of us is an island to ourselves and we don't know everything. So women should get out there and make that first move, speak first, smile at someone. And I do a women's group called Go Getters for God, and I encourage them, if you don't know how to strike up a conversation, as women, we love jewelry, we love shoes, we love clothing, so just compliment somebody.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to compliment, you're talking about confidence and complimenting, we learn how to compliment, we realize it doesn't take anything away from us to compliment someone else. It actually makes you feel better. So when you network, you can compliment, you can talk, and you can actually cause business to transact and follow up with those people when you network too.
That's great.
Yeah,
I
you
love
got to
that.
follow up to maximize
Oh,
your networking.
yeah, absolutely. Now, in the earlier segment, you were talking about for high school students, you encourage them to go and call somebody that have a job that they want to do. Would you say the
Yes.
same thing to a woman who maybe has been raising her children and now she's starting to transition to go back into the workforce?
Yes.
Would you say the same to her?
I absolutely would, because again, I found out that more people than you think are willing to talk to other people. It makes other people feel good to share that information. So I do suggest that women would call someone who is doing what you would like to do. Learn about their story. It doesn't mean your story has to be the very same, but learn what it takes. Learn about the sacrifices they made, because any woman you see that looks, you think is successful, she made some sacrifices along the way, I promise you. Yes.
And what special qualities do you think women have in the workplace that are sometimes overlooked?
We're good listeners. I think women are very good listeners, and a lot of times problems can be solved if we listen better. So many times we overlook things, we go through the same old, and wonder why is this still happening. But women, we take the time to listen, we're compassionate, we care, and sometimes it's, there's not room for compassion in the workplace. People still need to know that you care. Because when people know that you care, they will work harder than you can imagine for you. And so I think women also add that true compassion, that genuine, that love that comes in there. But also women, we know that many times we have to work twice as hard to be considered half as good. So women leaders, our work ethic is really, really strong, and that's good too.
And what are some of the keys to overcoming obstacles that women face in the workplace?
Well, again, focus on your vision. Again, I love talking about envisioning your future success, because somewhat vision has just kept me rooted and grounded so many times, facing so many obstacles. You're going to get there. And again, it's like, are you going to stop because there's an obstacle? You can't stop. There's an example I love about the tunnel. And when you're driving in the tunnel, you see two signs. You see maintain your speed limit and stay in your lane. And the tunnel is a dark place, it's crowded, you lose your music, and that can represent the obstacles in life. But if you keep driving on that same lane and you maintain your speed limit, don't stop pursuing at the same rate when you feel like you're going through a tough time. Keep pursuing, keep your foot on the gas, going forward in life. You will come out on the other side and see the sunshine again.
That's a great
So you'll
analogy.
you'll make it through your obstacles if you keep going. Just don't quit in the middle.
That's right.
If you quit, it gets longer and longer and longer. And then reach out to another sister for help. Let them know you need them.
And how can women continue to strive to break through that glass ceiling we hear so much about?
The networking is very important, because again, keep building great networks. Find people that are smarter than you, that know more than you do, and don't feel intimidated by it. Learn, learn, learn. Be a sponge for learning. Continue to press toward higher education, but also continue to learn how to communicate better. There's research out, and employers prefer candidates who can communicate even more than they prefer their degree. So no matter what your degree is, you need to know how to speak well, speak confidently, and that's why I talk about step up, speak up, and stand out in the marketplace.
So what's in your future? What kind of thing are you going to be working on? More books or more speaking, teaching?
Yes.
Because you probably always want to grow and continue to try new things.
I do. I think staying green and growing is very important. But I want to continue speaking to colleges, corporations, churches, and communities to help them be better, to help them dare to be dynamic, to help them overcome obstacles, to help those students be more successful, and adults in the workplace be more successful too. So I definitely want to speak, and I definitely want to do some coaching, but I love doing the VIP days where we dig in deep into what their vision is, make it private and personalized, and help them be the best they can be, and to help women create the success that they deserve and desire. And deserve goes back to that word, we're worthy of success.
What are the VIP days? Can you tell a little more about that?
Yeah, a VIP day is when I do either a whole day or either 2 half days, and we get together, we take her vision, we take what she wants to do, and I teach them the step up, speak up, and stand out process. The stepping up is catapulting a woman's confidence. The speak up is learning how to communicate clearly and effectively, and the stand out is learning how to network with confidence, because these are all tools that women need. We need them to rise to the top. And so I like to empower entrepreneurs as well as employees too.
That's great.
Thank you.
Now, what would you say to the woman who's watching and their laundry's all over, kids are running around, and they're thinking, I didn't go to college, I'm only a mom. How do I even take the first step? What would you say to her?
You are still important. And I say many times, whether you're a domestic engineer or a civil engineer, You play a significant role. If you were not wonderful, those children would not be looking up to you. So that always let there be a reminder that you have something great to offer to this world. Don't die with it inside of you.
Yeah.
Live and let it come out.
I love that.
Thank you.
I know. What about to the woman who is in a job, but she feels like it's sort of a dead-end job, and she's thinking, I need this income. I can't just quit my job. I have to stay what I'm doing, but I want more. What would you say to her?
Don't be afraid of change. That while you're still in that job, perhaps apply for some others. Don't be afraid of change, because many times we get stuck because we're afraid of something different. And I learn, every day I learn and grow too, and sometimes the new is better than before. Expect improvement. Expect things to get better. Expect the next promotion to be better than the last. And know that if your environment changes, it's okay. Because sometimes women have changed, and they changed before the company shut down. They were afraid to do it first, but then later they didn't know it, but the company was shutting down, and so they had a head start by having the faith, confidence, and courage to take another step. And so I like to help women have that, because it's difficult to make changes in life sometimes. So we try to come alongside them and help them make that, have that confidence and the courage to go forward and to take it step by step and make the best decisions for them too.
And I do feel like one of the biggest obstacles is fear, that fear of taking that step.
Yes.
So what would you say? Just don't
Fear.
be afraid.
Yeah, fear is a four-letter word. I couldn't say four-letter words when I was a child. But as an adult, to me, fear is a four-letter word because, the results are terrible.
Right.
But there's an acronym for fear that says false evidence appearing real. So don't focus on what you think you're fearing. Focus on faith. Go forward. Do it anyway. If you're afraid, do it afraid.
Oh,
okay?
I love that. Lynetta, you are an absolute joy. Thank you so much for being with us today. We've been talking to Lynetta Jordan, and she is a motivational speaker. I feel so motivated.
Oh,
thank
wonderful.
you for being with us. I'm Ferrell, Tata, and thank you for watching Joy in Our Town. Have a great day.
This program has been sponsored by the Trinity Broadcasting Network and made possible by your telethon dollars. Your continual support can keep Joy in Our Town brought to your home every day. So write Joy in Our Town, P.O. Box A, Santa Ana, California, 92711.